Hey guys, I'm RiggyRob, and welcome back to Disco Elysium. So, again, it has been a while since the last time we streamed this. Unfortunately, I've had a bit of an illness, which I still have. I think I have tonsillitis, but I do have an appointment to check that out tomorrow. And other things, just like life getting in the way, doing work, things for work, travel, stuff like that. But the last thing that we did, or the main thing we did last time, was we managed to get the Ravers to help out with Suna's project. Or rather, we got Suna to agree to let them make a nightclub in the church if we help her with her project. So we went through and we spoke to pretty much everyone in the nightclub, with the exception of Suna, who we need to still speak to.
Yes, what is it?
So, how is the project going? I see that your neighbors have moved in, but all I hear is anodic dance music.
What? What did you say?
I said, how's the project going?
I can't hear you! The music is too loud!
The project, how's it going? Give up trying to communicate in a nightclub. Well, you can't give up because otherwise you will never communicate in a nightclub, so you just have to keep going.
Oh, the project! It's not going well!
Why?
There's that guy! I need him to plug a 3.5 cable into the auxiliary input so that I can route the audio signal through the mixer into the speakers.
So 3.5 cable into the auxiliary input. Why don't you just ask him?
He doesn't listen to me! He only ever seems to care about hardcore and yekokata! A place to be, apparently!
I'll speak to him, see what I can do. Also, yes, we did actually solve the Egghead puzzle last time. It seems like Egghead is just a scooter reference, hence Yekokata, the place to be, and jumping all around the world was literally just some scooter lyrics. So I'll speak to him and see what I can do.
Thanks! Maybe you can get through his magic rhymes!
He does jazz hands to mock him.
Let me know how it goes!
Alright, well, again, we solved the puzzle, so we should be able to do this no problem.
Good morning, comrade! Yeah! Harder, car!
Egg, can you please route Suna's signal through your speakers?
To the mega! Yeah! I can route it through auxiliary! What kind of a cable does she use? 3.5 or 4.5?
It's 3.5, no doubt about it, it's on the ground. Point to it.
Oh, she uses 3.5. Yeah. The auxiliary lining is 4.5 millimeter. These two don't mix.
Okay, you just need an adapter.
Oh no, we're going to be in this church forever.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry, I have an adapter for it right here.
He searches for the cable on the ground and picks it up looking at the jack.
Hang on, this is a 4.5. We're all good, people!
With a grin, he sticks the plug into the auxiliary line in. You hear a satisfying click.
Whoa, thank God. Adapters noticeably degrade the sound quality.
Great! Someone got through to him! Okay, let's get it all set up. Can we turn the music off, please?
Egg, the music?
Everybody! Everybody! Don't panic! I'm going to turn off the on-off for just a sec. For a special scheduled event.
Mm-hmm.
The on-off will be back, but we're doing something else for one moment. Alright, go tell her that Egghead is ready to rave to her tunes, and then I'll turn off the music.
I mean, you can literally just speak to each other, but you can hear each other. Well, anyway, back to Suna.
Yes, what is it?
Alright, I talked to Egghead, he plugged in the cable, you can now unmute your speakers.
Okay, but think you can ask him to turn the volume down a bit? Just in case.
Sure.
Maximum!
A great smile still adorning his face, larger than a red dwarf star.
Maximum is the only way!
Alright, I guess he wants to be deafened.
I know it is, but could you please turn it down just this instance? Just this one time? Maximum is not the only way, okay?
Yeah, so they literally can hear each other.
Pump it to the brick! Pump it to the hard master! There's no other way! Glue style!
Glue style? Okay, there literally is no other way. The mixing desk is glued to maximum.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
See? He pumps it to the hard master. It's hopeless.
Why do you want to turn down the volume?
Because I'm afraid that something might happen. It's an unknown phenomenon. We can always turn it back up if there's a need.
Can't turn down the hardcore!
I think what Egghead is trying to say here is that the volume button is stuck on maximum.
Of course it is.
He shrugs, consigned to her fate.
Yeah! Permanent enlightenment! Ray of sound!
Never mind then. Let's get on with our project. I'm going to unmute the speakers on a count of 5. Everyone ready?
He looks around the church.
Egghead pumps his hand up in the air, waiting for the beat to drop.
Born ready.
There's Andre.
Ready.
Yells Noid.
I'm ready if you two are detectives.
The lieutenant nods stoically. Not so stoically. His hand moves to the gun holster.
What are you afraid of, Kim?
There's tightness in your chest. Anxiety.
No, let's do it. Okay, ready.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mute disengaged.
He lifts a hand from the keyboard and complete silence fills the room.
No wind outside. No waves. No floorboards creaking. Total, continuous silence. This is unnatural.
I think it's unnatural that Noid is still nodding his head to a beat that doesn't exist.
The woman looks around. In the silence, you see dust move on the floorboards. The driver of the speaker vibrates in the air and then stops. Plasterwork begins to crumble down the walls. In the silence, a low hum starts creeping up your spine. It's a song inside you, not in the speakers, not in the room. A great bass sigh in the basement of your mind. Slowly, it builds until the air around you starts to vibrate. It's out there now, in the world, made manifest.
The silence.
It will devour everything. The floorboards, the glass, the streets and the people. Nothing will remain.
Guys, what's going on?
There's alarm in the man's voice as he steps back to scan the surroundings. A slight rattle like crystal clattering in the cupboard fills the air, joining the chorus.
This fragile world is about to break.
It's getting louder.
His eyes riveted on the strange circle of water basins.
In the basins, the water looks like it's boiling.
Hosiana! Mother of Mega!
You hear Egghead yell, then something else, but his voice is growing faint.
He's peaking. The worst high he's ever been on.
Hey, what's that weird rattling sound? It was in me at first. I've never heard anything this hardcore in my life. I feel like it's important to say it was in me, because it did start in the spine.
The beauty and the beat! The future of dance! Planetary!
No, Egg! It's the window!
The glass shards around Dolores Day's vacant heart appear to be vibrating from the sound. It almost looks as if she's alive.
In the corner of your eye, the lieutenant steps aside, cautiously. His eyes searching for a possible evacuation route.
Well, I mean, it would be the door, right?
The window is going to come down. No, the roof!
The window is coming down. I can see the glass shattering. He looks up, a screech fills the air, a scream of wooden nails. The pillars of the church twist and creak above and around you.
Cracks appear on the stained glass window. Cracks run up the wooden pillars in the dark.
Come down to earth! Love!
Below it, all the bass grows, like the jaws of a giant compressor gnawing on metal and wood. It does not sound benevolent at all. It's shaking the building's foundation. The floor twists. A great pulse arises in your flesh.
That's it. I'm muting it.
I want to... oh, I want to dance with somebody. Start tapping your foot. We should stop, sooner mute it. Everybody don't panic, it's beautiful. I mean, clearly everyone is panicking. It's very visible. And this is just gonna be... Well, I mean, Suna would do whatever she wants to do. Unless... Are you supposed to try and start singing to fill the silence? like start making a beat yourself. I mean, I think Suna would stop either way, so I think we might as well try this.
Oh, I want to feel the heat with somebody.
See, Egghead's got it.
Shit! It doesn't stop. A seal? Have you?
The woman is furiously pressing down on her keyboard, but the sound doesn't stop. And that's the other thing, is even if she can try and stop it, it might not be able to be stopped.
Yes, I've turned it off.
She yells, holding the contact mic in her hand.
Andre, pull the compressor. The place is gonna come down.
Fuck! I can't shut it up. The signal's passed. It's not in here. It's...
In the mixing desk now, building into a positive feedback loop. This is it. A great roar. The vault of the roof twists above you. Glass shatters somewhere near the door. It's coming down.
Egghead, it's in the desk. Egghead, whatever you do, don't stop it. Well, saying it's in the desk doesn't necessarily mean stop it, so let's say it's in the desk.
And then it stops. Totally and utterly. As if there never was a sound. Only your ears still ring from the shock. Everybody is staring at Egghead, holding a dangling cable in his hand. A black 3-pin connector.
So he did stop it himself.
Egg.
I pulled the plug. It was getting too hardcore.
Okay, well, I suppose that's something that we could have tested, is what happens if we just carry on. I imagine it just leads to a game over, actually.
You did good, Egg. Most of the place seems to be intact. Fucking hell. Programmer lady, tell me you were recording that.
4 years. 22 people. Millions of reals. All that time? This is what we were up against. Just erased it. Suliswolf isn't gonna believe this.
Yeah, but did you record it though? It was dope. I think we can use it.
Yes, Andre. I recorded it. Damn, I need to send some letters now.
Thank you all for doing this. Eggman, you too. And you, officer. I don't know what we've discovered, but I know what it sounds like now. That's the start.
Tim, did you hear that?
It was very hard not to. I think you're right. There is something going on here. And you need to be very careful with it.
I promise, officer. We will not play it again.
What was that? I never heard anything like that.
It was mathematical information from the anomaly, presented as a waveform. That's what it was technically. Theoretically,
She shakes her head.
I have no idea. I've never even heard of anything like this.
A voice seems muffled in the silent church. It's your ears adjusting after the exposure.
You're going to write to Sulislav?
Yes, our lead designer. And maybe some of the producers too. And some of the writers. If they're sober enough to open a transmission. They need to hear. They need to hear about this. Don't worry, I won't send the recording. Although I doubt they have the speakers to produce the frequency anyway.
What happens now? Are you going to...
Stay here. I'm going to stay here with these lunatics. Send letters, maybe meet Suliswolf. Also devise further measurements.
We helped Suna with her project and got 70 XP and a skill point for it.
I want you to know that's totally chill with us.
I don't care, but thank you anyway.
That's the best she can manage for Andre. It's quite a lot in truth. For her, at least.
Now, I have a theory to come up with. Some kind of preliminary explanation to all this. Or the letter will sound like I've lost my mind.
It might sound like that either way.
Yes, and we have to get back to stabilizing Martinez. Instead of demolishing it with loud bass noise of unknown origins.
Some tiny hard thing lets go in your stomach. You're still alive.
Interesting. So a godly check for logic. 16. Form a theory on the 2mm hole in the world. We've heard of the Doom commercial area and we've investigated the Doom commercial area. And we need to increase our logic if we want to do that. Okay. Let's have a look at how many skill points we've got. We've got 3 skill points, and I was putting more towards suggestion for the dates with Lillian, perhaps. So we'll see whether we want to go with that or whether we want to do logic, because again, logic is what we're going for. -2 from item, a -2 from thoughts, and -1 from items. So let's have a look. See, we probably have our glasses. Yeah, the glasses are taking 1 off. So we can put. Let's see. What do we have that increases logic? Probably not too much, because I think that I would just have logic be taken away. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's the second pair. I should probably put these pants back on now. And then the else logic-wise. Oh, the blue jacket. Okay. Yeah, I don't need the lounge jacket on anymore. Then I can do the glasses. That takes logic, puts it back up. And anything else? Are there any other logic increases? Ah! The hat increases. Ultimate peak focus. Okay. So now we have a logic of 9, which is pretty good. And we've got -1 from our thoughts. So which one's taking the thoughts away? Oh, some kind of superstar, but that's a great one to have because it raises the cap so much. So let's go ahead and make a save, and then we will see if we can pass that godly check of 16 now that we have 9 logic. And if not, we might try putting a point into the skill and then redoing it, but you know, it might be one of those things that Suna has to come up with herself, but we'll see. So let's go ahead, save over this one. Talk to Suna.
Yes, what is it?
Now we've got a higher chance of passing it, 83%, form a theory on the 2mm hole in the world.
You don't have to. You already have. A long time ago.
Wait, how?
These thoughts formed in you somewhere, in a long-forgotten discussion, behind the kitchen table, in the evening light. And a woman, she was there too. Her hair smelled of shampoo and she was smoking.
Suna, the 2mm hole in the world is the origin point of the Pale.
What?
The swallow, it's how it starts. It's baby Pale.
But Pale isn't here. We're thousands of kilometers from the edge.
There's fear in her eyes as she considers the possibility.
That comforts her.
No, look up. We are 20 meters from the very edge. The Pale is only in effect a transition between the world and that. 20 meters. I suppose that's not necessarily incorrect.
She looks up into the darkness under the nave, then back at you. You have her full, undivided attention. The lieutenant's, too. He takes his glasses off.
The Pale is only in effect the transition between the world and that.
Then what is that?
It's nothing. No, it's less than nothing. No.
It's less than nothing. The final rest state for reality. Imagine if all this never was.
Then the Pale is...
Simply a gradient, simply curdling milk. I think gradient's a bit neater.
But the gradient, it clearly hasn't started yet. We're here, and the Pale is not.
One day when it's larger, it will be.
I understand. A theory of the Pale where instead of an outer ocean, it metastasizes, like a cancer or a mold, erupting in points inside the world.
This is one of those places.
According to this, how long?
Until it starts swallowing, it's already started, starting with sound.
And information, causing data losses in the East Insulindian front. Have you considered why it's formed in a church? And also when or how it might start growing, or if it has other effects in addition to sound and data?
And this would also explain the doomed commercial area if it's another point where the Pale is breaking out into the world. That would cause the data losses, and that's what causes the businesses to fail.
I also have a question, since we are piling them on. How do you know this? I'm not doubting you. I'm simply curious as to how a detective of the RCM...
It didn't form in a church, the church formed around it. All the failed businesses in the doomed commercial area, or the Failure and Martinez. I think I've had this thought before, that's how I know. One day all the world would be like that 2mm hole. Let's go with the Doom commercial area for the first point.
You think the presence of that puncture has somehow influenced the outcome of events here? Even say software development?
Yes, even the revolution was defeated here. I mean, a kind of entrepreneuric history. All the failed businesses and ideologies, there's something wrong here. No, we're reaching people fail on their own. Oh, I mean, well, the failed businesses thing, the novelty dice maker, in theory, should also have failed because she's just close by proximity. So maybe it's not that. Maybe it's an entrepreneuric. I'm tending towards the ideologies failing, but there's something wrong here.
I told the producers we need to go and move to a normal office building with amenities. But no, the artists like the milieu, the writers like the history. I told them.
I should let people still know, working in there know about this. They might be affected. No, it's better they don't know. I think they should know.
You mean Plaisance and the dice maker? There was almost no one left when we packed up.
No, just the dice maker. I don't think Plaisance would survive this knowledge. No, just Plaisance. I don't think Niha is playing fair in this game. Yes, both of them deserve to know. They both deserve to know. Whether they take it well, I'm not sure on, but, you know, you have to let them know.
Then go tell them.
He smiles, suddenly encouraging, but now I need to inform them about the source of doom. It didn't form in a church, the church formed around it.
Of course! A pine wood sarcophagus, or a containment facility of some kind, built by the first settlers.
Yes, acting on an instinctual level or religious practices we've forgotten.
I have considered the same. The bad news is, there were 7 pinewood churches built in the first decade of Revachol settlement. Most of them were burnt down during the revolution, or repurposed before, during the suzerain. I'm not saying all of them have one in them, but...
Some of them might. A black grain hanging in the air.
I think I've had this thought before, that's how I know.
An amateur anthropomedic police officer. I'd like to say I've heard stranger things, but I'm not sure. This is a hell of a guess, however. Well worded, I might add.
Yes, it is very interesting. But I wouldn't say you know. This is a guess. One that's going to have to be proved by anthroponetic scientists.
Yeah, well that's the whole point of a theory, is you create a hypothesis and then you have to test that hypothesis. So, one day all the world will be like that 2mm hole.
She falls silent. The wind blows in through the hole in the stained glass window, cold and moist.
Thought gained, cleaning out the rooms.
I'm going to leave that out. But the rest, some of this I can use to start to explain this to the rest of the team. Maybe I'll sound mad, but...
Man, you will certainly sound mad.
One more thing. Maybe a club for anodic music isn't the worst thing you can erect around this particular point in space.
Perhaps not. Yeah, that's still insane, but then again, so am I. The club is the only thing keeping this place and the rest of reality together. Actually, now that I think about it, maybe it's dangerous. It's the only thing keeping reality together.
I wouldn't go so far as to...
Alright, fine, Suna, fine.
Yeah! Once the light is on in the universe, it will never go out!
Thank you, Rega. Let's leave it at that, shall we? We have an anthroponetic detection to perform in this district.
I do have one mystery that still needs solving. The radio ghost in the doomed commercial area's electronic doorbell.
The creepy woman! We were wondering about that when we worked there, but I had completely forgotten about it ever since. It must be anthroponetic crosstalk, the one you get in radios and long-distance calls. Now it makes sense, with the pale right on the doorstep.
Incredible. This would also explain why we get it on the police radio all the time.
Entrepreneuric crosstalk?
It's quite common, actually. When the signal gets routed through pale, all kinds of irregularities take place. You may hear snippets of someone else's conversation, or the voice of your former lover, or an echo of an event that took place 100 years ago.
And this is literally why Shivers works. It's because it's, entrepreneuric crosstalk.
Pale is a shroud of memories, and it doesn't really distinguish to whom those memories belong to. You could hear anything.
Yeah, Shivers and Esprit de Corps are basically the same thing. It's tuning into the Pale. That makes sense. Thanks for explaining it to me.
Anytime.
Okay. Right, I'll let you work in peace. Okay, well, that is an interesting turn of events in terms of learning more about the world. So, things to think about. Okay, so let's go ahead and put all of my normal clothes back on. So we'll put on leather jacket, pants are fine. I need the hat back on. There we go. Change the sunglasses. Yeah, that should be fine for now, I think. Oh, I need the chest piece. There we go. That's good. Alright, so let's go ahead and check our task list. So, So we need to inform Plaisance and Niha about the source of doom. We need to make Van Eyck's jam harder core, and the only thing we've got is the gentle cassette, which he didn't like. We can ask Evrart about a cell and the drug lab. Maybe you can use this to manipulate them. Okay. Then, oh yes, we also did forge the signature of the, well, the document that Evrart wanted us to get signed, so we can put that into the post. We can go back to the Whirling Rags, and we can get ourselves organized at the Cape Side Apartments after 10 o'clock. Okay, so, yeah. So actually, I've got a task there to smoke some cigarettes. It gives me +1 intellect. So if I have a blue check, in fact, I could have done it for the logic check now that I think about it, but I suppose if we see another blue check, we can go ahead and try some smokes. And yes, so this, let's interact with this.
The reel is just what you needed. The reels attached.
Oh, did I do this already?
You press the large button marked Commencer, and the tape starts spinning. There's a small delay before the song starts playing.
So pulse reel at harmless distance.
Then the organ starts playing a simple, melancholic tune echoing in the hallway. A lone singing voice joins in, telling you about the tiniest church in Cessons, surrounded by even tinier yard. You almost feel the seaside mist on your skin. It's mega sad. A click, then silence for a bit. Then the tape stops spinning. Nothing to do with this.
So nothing right now, but what if I put my ear closer to it?
You press the large button
So,
mark. It sounds like
speaker.
telling you a click. Nothing to do.
Wait, it didn't say that time.
You press the large button marked Commencer. It sounds like someone's moving in the room.
Yeah, it didn't do anything. Okay, nothing to do right now. Okay, so that's that. We've already done the badge. We've interacted with the envelope because we forged it. And then this Primus for Small Kids, I think, is the only book we haven't interacted with, but there's not really much reason to do that now. We can use it to pass time later on, for example, when we're trying to wait at the Cape Side Apartments.